44-year-old James Ferguson had an eerie and weird fascination with K's, so much so that he changed his name to Garland Green, after the character in the movie Con Air. Now, James, whom told people to call him Garland, had armed himself with a sawn-off. He then dressed up in blue overalls and wore a white mask and a black woolly hat. The madman, who is from Ayrshire, had then took a trip to his childhood friend's house, cairn, in Ardrossan, on May 24, 2020. Now, Garland had gone to the front door and then pressed the bell. A painter and decorator had answered the door as he was doing work on the house. Now, Garland then asked the decorator where's Paul, and the painter painted up to the upstairs. Garland Green then pulled his white mask down, ensured it was over his face, and then took the stairs. Garland's friend and victim, Paul Cairn, had been living with his girlfriend at the time, Victoria Woods. Victoria Woods was also Garland Green's own cousin. Now, according to a statement by Victoria Woods, she says that she saw her cousin enter the room with the sawn-off, full display. Paul told Garland, "I'm sick, get out of the room." Victoria, on the other hand, was frozen in fear. Now, when the sawn-off was raised, Victoria screamed, but Garland turned to Paul and says to him, "You were effing warned." Paul shouted no in response, but Garland had aimed and then pressed the trigger. Paul was shot. The force was enough to flip Paul from his back onto his front. Now, red ran from Paul's chest as Victoria ran to him and then turned him back over, trying to plug the wound. Now, despite Garland Green wearing a mask and a woolly hat, Victoria, whom was ill herself, knew her cousin had just killed his own friend and her partner because she could see his eyes, heard his voice, heard him speak, and knew his intimidating build. There was no real reason why Garland Green had killed Paul Cairn. The two men had been friends since the age of 4 years old. Now, despite CPR, Paul was quickly pronounced dead. Now, sadly, Victoria Woods would also die before the case could go to trial, but she did give a statement to the police previously. Now, social media quickly made the people of Ayrshire know that Paul Cairn had been killed in his own home after the decorator let in a hitman. People then questioned who could do this, and some of the messages were actually sent to Garland Green as they wanted to know what happened to his friend, Paul Cairn. Now, Garland tried to pin the blame on Liverpool lads, as though the M was in response to a gang dispute. But Garland Green was quickly arrested, and when placed in handcuffs and then interviewed, he denied any wrongdoing. However, a witness explained to police on the day of the M, May 24th, Garland Green had forced the man to give him a lift to Victoria and Paul's house. The victim was told, "If you don't give me a lift, I'll get someone to kill you, you understand?" Now, furthermore, Victoria Woods again was able to tell police that she recognised her own cousin's voice behind the mask, whom took aim at Paul Cairn and then shot him at point-blank range. During the investigation, police found out that Garland Green had also dumped the sawn-off and the cartridges. They were later recovered, and Garland's DNA was on both items. Despite offering no alibi or evidence to say why he was not involved in the M, Garland Green still denied any wrongdoing. He wanted the jury and the judge just to believe him off his word. But of course, he was found guilty in court of the most serious charges. Now, in closing statements, the judge, Lord Burns, says, "You discharged your item at point-blank range. This was a premeditated and cold killing. Your responsibility for the M has been established to the satisfaction of the jury on the most clear of evidence." For killing his own friend, Garland Green was jailed for life, and he was told that he would have to serve a jail sentence of a minimum 22 years. Does the crime match the sentence? Let me know. Stay safe.